If I were to tell you this character from the Mimic is actually based on real Japanese folklore, would you believe me? Let's see if that's actually true.
Roblox games with
horrifying backstories.
Alright, let's begin. The
Basically,
Mimic, okay?
a long time ago, there was this girl, and
Okay,
her
Wednesday?
ancestors were big puppet lovers. They loved playing with their puppets every day. The
Uh-huh.
ancestors did seem to be a little strange, but she never really cared. One day,
Okay.
it was the girl's birthday, and her ancestors gave her a present. It was
Was it
a
a puppet?
puppet that they made
Ooh.
themselves. It
Okay.
looked exactly like her from the top to the bottom. She didn't realize something though. Her ancestors actually gave her a curse, and her soul came inside the puppet. She
Oh.
got so angry that she killed at her parents. And now, she roams the house on her own, taking new people day and night.
As a
Stay
puppet?
safe.
This is the true story behind the Mimic? This is what actually happened? Yeah, no, that's obviously fake. The true story of the Roblox game, The Mimic, is actually based off of Japanese folklore. Like, for example, we've got Hiachi. She's actually based off of Hachishaku-sama, which is Japanese for 8 feet tall, and is a very popular Japanese legend about a demon ghost who takes children. Yeah, she's so popular, she appears in a lot of different Japanese type games. Then we have this character, Biwaki from the Mimic. She's actually based off of Benzaiten, the goddess of music and good fortune. But in the Mimic, she's definitely a lot more terrifying. We also have the character Kuriko from the Mimic, who's based off of The Grudge. And then my favorite Mimic character, we have Megumi. Yeah, she's like this long-necked lady, and she's based off of this Japanese folklore known as the Roku Rokobi. Yet the legend of this one is that they're generally harmless, but they could be dangerous at night. While their bodies are asleep, their heads stretch out their necks to explore around the area, and they essentially attack people and drain them of their blood. So there's no one direct source of the Mimic. It seems to be based off of a lot of different Japanese folklores and myths. But moving into Piggy now, this one is definitely a lot more sinister.
Roblox games with
Horrifying backstories.
Okay.
Piggy.
There was this guy just walking in the woods casually. He was coming to see his grandma because it's been a long time.
That's
It
nice.
was very dark outside, so it was very hard for the guy to see anything. Then he
Okay.
heard a loud noise, and he looked behind, and it was a pig with a bat.
Oh,
The pig took him
okay.
to their house and trapped him in there. The guy woke up and realized he is stuck. He got
Uh-oh.
up from the bed and looked around the house for some items to try to escape. But then he realized the pig is monitoring the place.
So he's pretty much just explaining the entire Piggy game.
Pig. He gets all of the things to escape, and he opens the door, but the pig is running right at him. But he
Uh-oh.
successfully went out and ran away as fast as possible. Stay safe.
Yeah, he pretty much just retold the whole story of Granny / Piggy. But yeah, the Roblox game Piggy is based off of a couple of things. The characters themselves are actually based off of Peppa Pig characters. We've got the bunny here, who's based off of Rebecca Rabbit, Foxy, who's based off of Freddy Fox, Pandy is Pandora Panda. The only difference is that a lot of the Piggy characters are actually killers. You can even see in the original Piggy map, there's pictures of Peppa Pig all throughout the game, but crossed out with an X. But as for the playstyle of the game, that's all based off of the popular horror game Granny, the game where you get whacked by this evil grandma and then have to find a way to escape her place. Yeah, both games play very similar, but now this is where it actually gets disturbing. See, the game Granny could possibly be inspired off of an actual real killer known as the Granny Ripper. Yeah, she was a Russian serial killer who was arrested in July 2015 on suspicion of committing 2 murders. And so as to how she relates to the Granny game and Piggy, well, after her husband's mysterious disappearance, she began renting out her apartment, where a lot of the people that she let move in mysteriously vanished. Like, there's literally camera footage of this grandma walking down the stairs trying to get rid of the evidence. Like, you don't want to know what's in that pot right there. But is Piggy the only game that's based on a true story? Let's continue watching.
Roblox games with
Horrifying backstories.
What do we got this time?
The facility.
Flee
There
the
was
facility.
5 kids
Okay.
that went in a factory. They
Uh-huh.
see a red light, so they run away. They notice that one friend was gone, and they try to go back and find him. But
Okay.
then more of the friends disappear. Only one friend is alive, and they find the other friend stuck in a freezing pod. All of his
Oh.
friends are frozen. Then he sees
Okay.
a red light again, but then it's coming towards him. He then sees who took friends. It was the Beast. He ran
Beast?
away
Who's the
as fast
Beast?
as possible and escaped. And he still regrets putting his friends in the factory. Stay
Is he the
safe.
beast? Is he the one that put him in the factory? So Flee the Facility is a game where you and your friends are stuck with this demonic entity. In each map you have to find different ways to escape by hacking terminals before he like stuffs you in a pod. But now what is this game actually based on? Is it based on a real story? Well, let's see. The game itself was heavily inspired by another game called Dead by Daylight, a game where you literally run away from different iconic killers, and it pretty much has the same play style, but it just looks more realistic. But when the Flee the Facility developer was asked about the lore, they stated that in the game there's 5 campers that go to Camp Lapis, and the one with the most hatred in their heart is lured to the cave, unleashing the beast and locks them in the facility. And yeah, Camp Lapis is where you originally start at. If you go behind the camp and go down this tunnel here, you can find a whole bunch of different lore about the game itself. But what we want to know is if Flee the Facility is based off of a real story. And the only real connection I could find is it being related to The Most Dangerous Game. It's a short story from 1924 about a hunter who lures people into his island and then hunts them down for sport. Kind of similar to like the beast in this game or these other killers in Dead by Daylight. They kind of treat it as like their little playground. But is the game actually based off of anything real? No, probably not. But you'd be surprised because the game Doors actually is.
Roblox games with
Horrifying backstories. Doors.
Okay.
So there was this couple that needed to go to a hotel to rest. They went into the building and went down the elevator. They then saw that nobody was at the reservation desk. And when they saw that the key to their door was behind the desk, they went to get it. Once they opened the door, they saw a hallway to a different door. The couple
Right
thought
now
it
he's
was
just explaining
normal,
the entire
but
game
once
of
they kept
Doors.
going through different doors, something was wrong. After that, they tried to call 911. There wasn't any signal. The man heard a psst behind him, and he couldn't find who that
Heard a
was.
psst, okay.
The monster came out and hurt him, and his wife tried to help, but he kept bleeding. He was gone. Then the wife heard the psst as well. She was gone after that.
They both died to
Stay
shriek?
safe.
Nah. So the game Doors actually has a lot of inspirations built into it. It's heavily based off of this other Roblox game called Rooms, in which it plays the exact same way, where you have to go through different doors and hide from certain entities. But both Doors and Rooms are also based off of this game called Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion. Yeah, it's literally a game where you go through different rooms and there's scary jump scares lying in every corner. And this game starts off really cute and innocent at first, but the further you go down into the game, the creepier the game actually gets. And the game was made back in 2015, and all these 3 different games, what they all have in common is that they're all based off of ghosts, demons, and the idea of hotels and mansions being haunted. With hotels being incredibly old and ancient, sometimes hotels can have dark backstories. Whether because somebody died in there at one point, or the hotel used to be a hospital wing, there's a lot of actual hotels based off of real dark tragedies, and I imagine Doors and all these other games got their original inspiration from these scenarios.
Roblox games with
Horrifying backstories. Evade.
There was these 2
okay.
guys who were ghost hunters. They were called to see if someone's farm had ghosts there. The farmer said he had been hearing some strange noises outside, so he assumed it was ghosts.
Was it ghosts?
When they went to the farm, they saw so many scary faces chasing animals.
I don't
The
like
2
that.
guys went in and suddenly one of the faces turned around and
Jeez.
chased one of them. The other
Okay.
guy went after to him to help, but it was too late. The monster got his friend. The other guy then saw the face chasing towards him. He tried to run as fast as he could. The face got him too. The end. Stay safe.
This is the true story of Evade, except not really. Evade is a game where you run away from certain scary images. Sometimes they're not even scary, they're just kind of goofy looking.
You're too slow. You're too slow.
But what's the backstory of Evade? How did it come to be? Well, Evade is actually based off of the Gary's Mod game called Nextbot Chase, where it's the same exact thing. You just avoid these loud PNGs chasing after you. Again, some of these PNGs being more scary than others. They got Elmo in this game? Oh nah. Now the game Nextbot Chase was actually inspired from this other mod in which this poorly drawn version of Sonic called Sanic chases you around. And yeah, it's literally just a PNG. And yeah, that's literally the entire game. It's just you running away from this Sonic character. And this video was made 9 years ago. But this video and this mod itself was the original inspiration for these Nextbots games and even Evade. Like, you are watching history right here. And as for those 2 guys seen in that YouTube short, those are people from the Mandela catalog, which is a fictional story about Mandela County, where that place gets invaded by demonic entities. Honestly, pretty disturbing, but not actually real.
Roblox games with
Horrifying backstories.
Alright, but what do we got this time?
So there
Tower
were
of
these
Hell,
strange
alright.
men trapped in a tall tower. Those men were told to do obstacles to get to the top of the tower. The men though refused to do it because it looked dangerous. But when they were told they won't have food unless they make it to the top, they were convinced. So the man went on the first level, and he had to cross a thin bridge. He was so nervous that he almost slipped and fell, but he reached to the second level. But it wasn't as easy as the one before. It had lasers and spikes that could key him. But he does it anyways. Suddenly, something went wrong. The lasers were moving, and the laser hit the man's leg and chopped it off. He then fell to the ground.
They showed Darth Maul there.
Stay safe.
I like this guy's stories. I like how he refers to all of them as like actual backstories to these games. But yeah, Tower of Hell. It's one of the most popular played Roblox games of all time. Where did it get its inspiration from? Well, the game was released back in 2018, but the game itself, it actually is based off of this other game called Juke's Tower of Hell. And before it was even called Juke's Tower of Hell, it was called Kitty's Tower of Hell, based off of the names of the owners of the game. But yeah, it had somewhat similar play style. You could actually see outside of the towers, and these games were actually very difficult. But if it's actually based off anything in real life, no, more than likely it was just based off of obbies, and they just wanted to make something far more difficult.
Roblox games with
horrifying backstories.
So here we go. Now we've got Brookhaven.
There was this girl named Brittany, and she loved playing Brookhaven. Once she was playing, she was hit by a car in the game. She flew under the map. But after that, she left the game and went to school. As she crossed the road, the car hit Brittany and she got sent to the hospital. Few hours later, she woke up from the hospital bed, and her doctor was the person who ran her over. That same doctor also looked like the avatar that hit her in Brookhaven. The doctor didn't say a word to Brittany and let her go. Few days later, her house was blown up. The end. Stay safe.
He blew up. Why did he blow up her house? What's the doctor want with Brittany? Look, the amount of times that I've gotten run over in Brookhaven, I'm still chilling. But yeah, if you guys like this video, don't forget to subscribe. Goodbye.